Okay. Chapter 4, lessons 4 and 5 are going to be combined together, and it is scatter plots, lines of fit, and causation. Go ahead and take the notes about correlation here. Pause the video. So looking at this, determine whether each graph shows a positive, a negative, or no correlation. The first one would be no correlation because all the points are scattered. The second one, they're mostly trending in an upward pattern, so I would call this one a positive correlation. If there is a positive or negative correlation, directions say describe its meaning. So for number 2, I would say the elevation in feet is rising. As you're rising in elevation, the highest point is also rising. Okay, what we're going to do for a scatter plot here, if we have our TI calculators, is we're going to actually be able to do this in our calculator. So how am I going to... This is not what I want, X. Okay. So first thing I'm going to have to do here is, as I type in things, I'll be able to capture the screen and you're going to be able to see what you're doing. So the first thing, in order to put any statistics into our calculator, we're going to push the stat key, which is 2 keys to the right of your alpha key. And when you push that, this is what should come up. So in order to put in stats, we're going to hit number 1, which is edit. We're going to push enter. Can I take another picture? What's this? Oh, that just makes them into a slideshow. Okay, exit. All right. So once I put enter, here shows me my list 1, my list 2, my list 3, 4. So in list 1, we're going to input the years, and into list 2, we're going to put in the cases. So 2001, enter. 2002, enter. 2003, enter. 2004, and 2005. Then arrow over to L2 and put in 39, enter. 28, enter. 20, enter. 16, enter. 18, enter. And it should look like this when you're done. Now, if we go to our y equals on the top left corner of your screen, we're going to need to go up and turn on plot 1. And so it should be black when you go up to it and hit enter on it. Now, our normal screen for our graph is a 10 by 10. And looking at our data, a 10 by 10 is not going to cover the data. We're not going to be able to see it on a 10 by 10 screen. So what we need to do next is change our screen. So if you push the window key, it should bring up this menu. So as you see there, my minimum on my X is -10, and my maximum on my X is a +10. Looking at my X's, which are my years, they're anywhere from 2001 to 2005. So if I want to be able to see them, I'm going to have to put my minimum as something below 2001. So I'm going to click 2000. And my maximum as something above 2005, so like 2010. The X SCS means the X scale, like how are they counting? It's okay to leave it to count by 1, which is it'll count every year. Then for my Y minimum, looking at my cases, my lowest case I have is 16. So I need to pick something below 16 for my Y minimum. I'm going to pick 10. And my Y maximum, my highest case number is 39. I need to pick something above that, so I'm going to pick 45. So now yours should look like this. Then go ahead and hit graph, and when you do that, it should pull up your scatter plot, and it should look like this. Whoops, I think I hit it twice. Okay, so now looking at that and reading the questions, it says, draw a line of fit for the scatter plot. So in order to do that, we're going to go back to the stat key and hit the right arrow so that it shows us up on calculate. And notice for the most part, if you're looking at the screen on capture labeled capture number 9 here. It's mostly a downward linear graph. There's a little point here that's kind of out of there, but if I cover that one up, mostly looks like it's a negative linear graph. And so we're going to use number 4, which is linear regression here. Uh-oh. Make sure I'm still recording, aren't I? Okay, good. So I'm going to go down to number 4 and hit enter on it. Now, if you have a calculator like mine, this is what your screen is going to show. It's going to say that your X list you put under L1, which we did. Your Y list you put under L2, which we did. And then it has frequency lists, which we're not using, store regression equation, which we're not using. And so I need to go down to calculate. So push the down arrow and hit enter. Now, if you have the TI-83s, yours will just say on your screen, linear regression, and all you have to do is hit enter. Then what comes up is my equation for that line. And so now I know that my equation for the best fit, go over here, stop. Okay, the equation is y equals negative 5.4x, and my b is plus 10840.4. Now, that should go down to C. Now, if you don't have a graphing calculator, what you're going to have to do is pick 2 points and do slope first, find the slope, then use point slope form, then distribute, and then get y by itself. And your equation should come pretty close to the one that we had. Okay, so let's do it again here. Select all. Trash. Okay, so this time we're doing a zoo. I'm going to go back to stat. Then when I hit enter on the edit, it should look like this. It's still the data we had in last time. If I go all the way up to L1 and hit clear enter, it will clear out my screen. Don't hit delete, hit clear enter. Then go all the way up to L2 and hit clear enter also. In my L1s, I'm going to put all of my X's. So 12, enter, 25, enter, 15, 8, 35, 40, 41, and 20. In my L2s, 47, 50, 40, 20, 70, 77, 61, 54. So it should look like this. Capture. All right, then we're going to have to go back and check our window. So go back to the window key and notice it's still set at the years we had before. Looking at my X's this time, I go anywhere from 8 to 41. So I'm going to make my X's 0 to 50. Looking at my Y's, I go anywhere from 20 to 77. So I'm going to make my Y's 15 as the min and 80 as the max. Then go ahead and hit graph. And I should see all of the points. Notice it's basically a positive correlation. It's going up from left to right. So I'm going to go back to the stat key and over to calculate. Go down to linear regression and hit enter. Then go down to calculate and hit enter. And I only need 2 decimals. So it tells me that my equation is y equals 1.22x plus 22.45. Then I'll use that to predict the maximum longevity for an animal whose average longevity is 33. So I'm going to do 1.22 times 33 plus 22.45. And that gives me 62.71. And then lesson 5, the reason I'm putting that in with today is causation. Causation means that one variable will cause the other variable to happen. So it's basically just like a yes or no type of thing here. So number 1, determine if the statement is a correlation or a causation. So the more birds seen outside, the more picnics at a park. So first ask myself if there is a causation. Does having more birds outside cause more picnics at the park? The answer would be no. Determine if it's a correlation. If you see more birds outside, do you think there will be more picnics at the park? There could be a correlation to that because if there's more birds outside, that means it's a beautiful day. And so if it's a beautiful day, there's probably more picnics at the park. Number 3, snow in school. The more snow accumulation, the more days of school is canceled. That would be a causation because the more snow we have, the more days we'll have to miss school. Number 2, the table shows the temperature of a coffee cup based on the number of hours at room temperature. So does leaving the coffee out for more time cause the temperature to go down? And the answer is yes, it's causation. Number 4, the table shows the number of hours a person watches TV per week based on the number of siblings. So does the number of siblings cause the number of hours you watch TV to change? And the answer would be no. But is there a correlation to how many siblings you have in correlation to how many hours of TV you watch? And that one would be yes, because if you have more siblings, you might not get as much TV time.